everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you ever so much for dropping by and spending a little time with me. I really do appreciate it. As you can see, it's raining outside, so I taped a little bit and I'm letting a little bit of it run. In today's video, I'm taking you on a journey that started with high hopes, but that which ended in just pure disaster for me in the kitchen. Come with me and let's begin. So I attempted to bake a sweet potato pudding, a Jamaican style sweet potato pudding, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite puddings. Well, all puddings are my favorites, but I absolutely love Jamaican sweet potato pudding. So I attempted to bake one, and I'm going to let you come with me and see how the journey started and how it ended. So we started by peeling our sweet potatoes, and I'm using, I think I did about 4 pounds, 4 to 5 pounds, so it was a lot. And even though I was only baking for my own purposes, it really was a lot, because I had intended that had it come out good, I would have given some away to my friends. So we peeled our sweet potatoes, and as you can see, I am wearing gloves again. As if you have seen any of my videos, you'll know that I stated before that I do not like to peel things in the kitchen without wearing gloves, because I don't like the stains on my hands. So we did our sweet potatoes. I peeled our sweet potatoes and I cut them up into pieces that are manageable because I'm going to be grating them. Cut them into pieces that would be manageable for the grater. Then I was cooking some other stuff as well. So I was going to be using some pumpkins and preparing pumpkin specifically for another dish. I have a little bit in there because girl's gonna add some to it. Alright, so as you can see, the gloves, I'm showing them to you. This is how much stain came off the sweet potatoes onto the gloves, and all of that stain would have come onto my hands had I left it like that. Had I not used gloves, it would have come all the way off on my hands, and I find it very hard. I have to use a Scotch-Brite all the time to try to scrub. Whenever I peel potatoes without a glove, that's what happens. I literally have to scrub with Scotch-Brite to get it off my hands. Anyway, potatoes washed, peeled. I peeled some yam, and the yam I'm using was a piece of yellow yam, Jamaican yellow yam. That's what I'm using. So I'm grating everything together. One of the things I started by grating the yams, because yams absolutely cannot touch me. It itches me to high heaven, and so it cannot touch me at all. So I have to be gloved up, and sometimes I'm wearing long sleeves just to make sure that nothing from it splashes onto me, because I'd be scratching like an hour or two. I'm just digging and running around the house because I'm itching so much. So I try not to let it touch me at all. So I started thinking that if I peel the yam first, then I could just get rid of that, and that would be done and out of the way. Big mistake, because the yam was so slimy. Well, the yam is slimy, but what it did was all of the other things that I had in there in the pot that I was grating my stuff in, it slimed up everything until everything was so slippery, and it took me, I think, over an hour to peel, more than an hour, almost 2 hours to grate those sweet potatoes. Okay, so then I did my coconut. Cut and blended my coconut so I could get my coconut milk. So after extracting my coconut milk, I used some water and I extracted the milk, and then I added spices to it. So I added cinnamon, nutmeg. I put also a spice which I saw in the supermarket called rose water and almond. It smelled really, really nice, and so I decided to put a little bit in there, but nah, I don't think I didn't like it. Anyway, so my flour of choice, which was the closest one, I just grabbed what was near to me. I assumed it would taste good in this, and so I used a little bit of cassava flour. I think I used a cup, and I blended my fruits, which were soaking in rum and wine. I have fruit soaking for about a year now, so I blended the fruits and poured it in there. You can see me, I am picking out the stubs. When I grate the potato, I drop the stubs back into the mixture, and so while I'm mixing now, I'm realizing that I didn't get all of them, so I'm picking them out, and I'm mixing. But the thing with when I was making this pudding is that I had no idea, and I thought that I watched other people's videos, and I had no idea what the consistency was supposed to look like. I had no idea how much liquid was supposed to be in there, so I kept pouring, and I was just pouring liquid and then pouring my coconut milk, thinking that it needed quite a bit in order to cook the potatoes, and I poured it all in there. If you see, it's very watery. If you see that now, it's as watery as when I'm making cornmeal pudding, because that is the consistency that cornmeal pudding usually have. When you make your mixture for cornmeal pudding, your consistency usually looks something like that. So I'm assuming it would have been the same thing for the sweet potato pudding. So I put it in my oven, and I baked, and I baked, and I baked, and I baked. I think I baked for like about 3 hours. And at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, let's just take this out. I'm just gonna stop, because guess what, it didn't set. It literally started to burn. If you look here, you will see that's not set. It was so horrible. Anyways, my intention is to regroup, gather my ingredients, and I did what I should have done before, which was to call my mother, to ask my mother, how do you make sweet potato pudding? And the biggest mistake that I made was the first thing she pointed out and suggested that she hoped I didn't make that particular mistake. I'm going to be doing this again, so I'm hoping that when I attempt my second attempt at making sweet potato pudding, I'm going to take you along with me, and you can see how, if I've made any improvements, because I do hope and I intend to make improvements. So I'm hoping that you will join me again on my next video whenever I decide to take attempt number 2 at making my sweet potato pudding. What a disaster. It's the ugliest pudding ever.